So this is a new thing. It's Learning Hope, and this is a way that we want to teach things about the history, beliefs, and practices of our church, this Learning Hope series. As a church affiliated with both the United Church of Christ and the Disciples of Christ, we stand upon a rich and faithful history. This morning, so close to Pentecost, I felt moved to share about the early history of the disciples with a special emphasis on the spiritual revival at Cane Ridge, Kentucky in 1801. Now, it was known as the Great Awakening, the Second Great Awakening, a revival movement which started around 1790 and continued through the early 1800s when Christianity grew rapidly throughout the United States. Though it was led mostly by Baptist and Methodist preachers, Barton Stone, a Presbyterian minister serving at Cane Ridge and Concord, had been to one of the revivals. And he was astonished at the outpouring of the Spirit. He wrote, "The scene to me was new and passing strange. Many, very many fell down as men slain in battle, and continued for hours together in an apparently breathless and motionless state. Sometimes for a few moments reviving and exhibiting symptoms of life by a deep groan or a piercing shriek, or by a prayer for mercy most fervently uttered. With astonishment did I hear men, women, and children declaring the wonderful works of God." When he described his experiences to the Cane Ridge Church, the congregation was affected with awful solemnity, and many returned home weeping. And when he later spoke at the Concord Church, 2 little girls fell in a faint, and a brief revival followed. That's when Stone organized the Cane Ridge Festival, the revival, the first weekend of August. Now, the Cane Ridge Meeting House was a one-room, that's it, log cabin sitting atop a gentle hill, and it's surrounded by bamboo on the ridge, hence the name. Expecting large crowds, a large tent was constructed along with speaking platforms, but even so, no one expected so many people. Now get this, as many as 20,000 people visited during the week, and 3,000 to 4,000 people found the Lord at that revival. Now, but really what is more remarkable, because it was so unheard of at the time, that Barton Stone invited both Methodists and Baptists to join the Presbyterians in preaching the Word. This single monumental act of Christian unity would prove to be a cornerstone for the Stone-Campbell movement. And you have to understand, at this period, many of the denominations and movements, they distinguished themselves by certain points of theological doctrine. That's how we got so many different denominations. But for Barton Stone, when he looked at the confessions of faith of the Presbyterians, he found that he was unsure if it all was truly Bible-based. And particularly, he found the Calvinistic insistence on the total depravity of humankind to be inconsistent with the Scriptures. He also took issue with the doctrine of the Trinity. Rather, Stone advocated for a simpler faith with less organization and doctrine that was guided by the Word. In 1804, Stone and 5 of his colleagues published the last will and testament of the Springfield Presbytery, where they outlined vital points in the subsequent development of the Stone-Campbell theology. 1, the importance of the unity of all believers, the value of congregational self-government, the use of the Bible as a source for understanding the will of God, and the rejection of human-made creeds and confessions. His followers thought the term Christian was sufficient to describe their beliefs, and that is why, to this day, we are called the Christian Church. So that ends this one. Next week, we're going to get the second half of that story.